Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk. I am your host, Diana Badea. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, or grab a freaking martini. I don't give a damn what time it is. This is a great episode. You're going to want to listen up. We're going to start with our affirmation and what I'm drinking. I am drinking my gorgeous Trader Joe's coffee with some toasted marshmallow flavored syrup and almond milk. And this is probably my comfort coffee at home. Tastes delicious. Let's all take a sip together no matter what you're drinking. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I don't judge. Trust me, if I had some whiskey in the house, it'd probably be going in a cup of tea. So everyone take a sip together. This is going to be a great episode. Oh my God, Gorgina. Okay. Oh, this episode is going to be all about New York City, surviving New York City. Okay. I know a lot of people have ambitions and dreams, and the things that keep them from going towards those ambitions and dreams is the fear of struggle. Now, there's so many caveats and nuances to the idea of struggling, the fear of struggle. I almost feel sometimes artists at a young age, because you get so fear-mongered into your field, that you feel like, well, I'm gonna have to struggle in order to be worthy of anything. But that in and of itself makes you manifest struggles that don't need to happen. So I'm gonna give you guys the tips and tricks on how to survive New York City as a struggling, starving artist. I'm giving you hacks. I'm giving you where to eat. I'm giving you how to find an apartment. I'm giving you jobs I've done. We are gonna go down all of the jobs, the crazy gigs I've taken, the things I've tried, and the things that I probably should never talk about, all on this podcast. So buckle up, baby. Get a notepad if you're ready to listen. And I'm going to debunk some stuff that you might have thought was true or might not have thought was true. But listen, if I could save you time and shave a few years off of your life from making these mistakes, that is my goal. I had nobody teaching me or telling me what to do. Okay. So I had to learn the hard way. And if you're somebody like me where you don't have a network, you don't have resources, you don't have family money to fall back on, you don't have family connections to fall back on, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is fail faster, fail harder. Try something. You're too afraid to try something. You're never going to know if you don't try. Try it and fail. Try it and fail. Because the only way to know what is right and what is wrong is you got to know what's wrong first. You got to know what's stupid first, babe. So that is what we are doing today. Let's start with an affirmation. I listened to a fantastic episode of Mel Robbins' podcast today. And it's so funny because as somebody who has a podcast, it takes a minute for me to enjoy somebody else's podcast because I need to make sure I'm getting something from it, and Mel Robbins said this incredible thing. And she said, so what if people feel like you're copying them? You are, because there's a formula to everything. And in success, I think a lot of people are so focused on, I have to be so unique. And no matter what you do, as long as you're being your authentic self, you are always going to be unique. No matter what you do, it's going to be unique. Okay. Because it's you. It's you. So the affirmation I'm going to give you today, I hope serves the purpose of reminding you that at any point you can change your life, regardless of what people think, regardless of what they may feel. There is a formula to your success. And the affirmation is, everybody take a deep breath. I can rewrite my story at any time. I have the power to rewrite my story however I want. I have the power to rewrite my story however I want. It doesn't matter if you're a young mom. It doesn't matter if you chose the wrong college. It doesn't matter if you don't know where you are in life right now. You have the power to change your own narrative. Your story that you're in, you can make it take a turn. It's not going to be pretty or easy, but it's going to help. You have that ability. Nobody's going to do it for you but you, okay? No one. Nobody is there waiting to cheer you on. They only come clapping when they see that you're clapping for yourself. I have the power to rewrite my own story however I want. Woo, okay. Wow, I'm feeling like Mel Robbins today, baby. All right? Oh, that woman is freaking great. So let's kick it off with how are we surviving in New York City? If you're feeling lost, no matter what city you're in, no matter if you're, no matter how you identify, no matter what you're striving towards, these still can be helpful for you because half of the time I look like I got my life together, and I have to remind you guys, I'm just as a mess as all of you. Okay, so don't get it twisted. Don't go thinking that I got it all figured out because this is proof that it took me a very, 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 very long time to even get to this position and I still feel like a mess. But I have a plan these days. And back then I did not. So let me just tell you a little bit of the story of how I first started kind of figuring out these different hacks and things like that. It all had to come from experience, right? I lived in an apartment with 5 roommates, 2 dogs, and a cat. That was the first apartment I ever had my name on a lease on. The first ever apartment I lived in, I was sharing a studio with a best friend from back home that I grew up with. We were sharing a studio close to the school that we were going to downtown. And honestly, I feel like looking back, first of all, 10 out of 10 do not recommend sharing a studio with anybody. And then from there, I lived in the East Village with 2 girls. It was 3 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. That apartment we absolutely wrecked. We were subletting. And when I got to my own apartment, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was faced with this feeling of, wow, am I lazy? I have no direction right now. All I know is that I have a goal in mind, but I have no idea how to get there. I have no idea what's going to work and what isn't. And I was feeling like I was above certain things. I was like, I don't want to be like a full-time waitress because if you're a full-time waitress, then you're not going to have any time to do your art. But I was like, girl, you have no money to do your art. It costs money to make what you want to make. It costs money for studio time. You don't have a microphone. All I had was my cell phone that barely freaking worked because I broke it every other day. So I really had no direction. And I just kind of started gigging and I started working at low-grade restaurants. And let me tell you, there are things that I've done, that I've tried, that I'm not proud of. But hey, I'll try anything once. And I do, and as much as I look at those things as like, ugh, I look back at those things I've done and I feel a little embarrassed. I'm glad I did them. I'm so glad I did them. I'm glad I watched people around me that did them and succeeded in the things that I didn't feel comfortable with. I'm glad that I can have discernment on what's real and what's not, and what works and what doesn't, and what's safe and what isn't, and what reality that I wanted to choose to live. Because all that glitter is not gold. And I learned that in a lot of difficult ways. I'm going to go through all my weird jobs. Are you ready? Here is a bunch of ways on how to survive in New York City. Let's get it started. First things first, I will say, if something sounds sketchy, it does not always mean that it is. Okay? You can always filter out the sketchiness in the sketchy. Okay? Because the amount of money that I made in this city by using Craigslist, girl, Craigslist will give you the weirdest jobs, the weirdest gigs, and sometimes the quickest cash. You need some groceries? Craigslist. Somebody wants you to carry a dresser down the street? Craigslist, okay? I think, and like I said, discernment, you need to be able to sniff out what opportunity is weird and what isn't. Because there's a lot of people in New York City where they're just kind of weirdos, but they're harmless. And then there's people that look normal, but they're full of harm. So you got to be able to sift those out. A number one way to sift those out is if people get too familiar too fast. So specifically on Craigslist, sometimes you have to be able to see, like, okay, are they showing an address? Are they being honest? Do they have a phone number that looks like it's an actual phone number, not a 1-800 number? Okay, does their email look like it's for a person? Are they posing as a major company, but their email ends in a Gmail account or a Yahoo account? If somebody is posing on Craigslist or any other website for a job or a gig and their email ends in a Gmail, iCloud, Yahoo, AOL, anything that is not a professional ending email, it is a scam, okay? Some of the jobs that I found on Craigslist, though, were being a brand ambassador for a liquor brand. And basically all I did was I would go to a liquor store and the brand would give me or they would have a setup there, and they would need somebody to pour free shots and liquor at a liquor store or at a event. And I would go there and I would have the merch and I would dress with whatever it was, Jack Daniels or Sipsmith gin or whatever. And you go and you promote this brand for a couple hours and they pay you, I don't know, maybe $100, maybe. You drink on the job. You're talking to people, you're having fun. And that was an easy thing that I found on Craigslist. On Craigslist, I also, I'm not going to put the picture up, but if you find it on my social media, I swear it's real. I notoriously have ugly feet. I have ugly hands and feet. Like I've said before, some women are blessed with that. Some women are blessed with talent. I have the latter. Okay. But I modeled for this thing called shower flops. Yes, shower flops. It was a woman from Long Island. She invented these things for her children that went to college, and they're flip-flops specifically designed for the shower. And they are like hypoallergenic, and they drain out all the water. They dry in 5 minutes out of the shower. They don't drip. They're water resistant. And it's all to like save your kids or anybody really from the beach or from any sort of public bathroom like germs if you're taking a shower in public at like a communal space. And when I tell you, I went to the Jacob Javits Center and I was standing in this plastic fake made shower with just my feet hanging out the bottom. All you see, and it really had me thinking, like at that time, I was so addicted to like male validation that like I had really loved my body, but I like didn't take care of my hands or feet. And by loved my body, I loved it because I literally couldn't feed myself. So don't recommend that. But I was like, oh, okay, like my body, people love my body. And I'm thinking I'm going to stand there and like walk around. She had me behind a shower curtain, standing in these freaking flip-flops for 6 hours. But I got paid like $200. And at the time, obviously $200 is not enough, but what was I doing on a Saturday? Early Saturday morning. I got there at maybe not 6 hours. I got there at, I don't know, maybe 8 a.m. So 8 to like 2. 8 to 2. I made like $200. I'll freaking take it. I'll take it. I ended up kind of like making friends with the woman. I got my mother a job as like an assistant with her. And then my mother ended up not liking her. And I was like, fair. I actually didn't end up liking her either. But I ended up getting some more work from her. So yeah, Craigslist is really, I also got wrapped into, this is where the sketchiness comes in. Some guy asked me if he could take pictures of me, and I didn't know what it was for. I didn't read the whole ad. But basically, they were using me to be a catfish, and he paid me like $60 for my pictures. I was like, okay. I had no money. Okay. I went and I bought some groceries, canned foods. I think I bought a bottle of wine to make myself feel like I'm actually doing something with my life. I was maybe 19 at the time. And so I'm pretty sure there's like pictures of me in a coffee shop with like my titties out. Not like all the way out, but like cleavage. And people probably think that they're talking to me. Here to tell you that you're not. Really sorry about that. Craigslist is your best friend for a lot of gigs. Yes, there's weird gigs, but there's also some pretty good ones. Like I didn't do this, but I was asked to do it. You can make like a very pretty penny. We're talking like $800 on a weekend by dressing like a princess for for a birthday party, dressing like a character with like a mask or something for a birthday party or something like that, you can make like $500 on a weekend, which I think is pretty damn good because the parties are like 3 hours. That was an option, but Craigslist, go scope it out. Don't be shy. It's not the worst thing in the world. And it's just creepy enough where like rich people won't try to take your jobs. I used Craigslist for apartments. And when I tell you, I found some amazing apartments on Craigslist. So Craigslist is also very vetted now. It's not what it used to be. So Craigslist is number one. Also, while we're on the topic of Craigslist and the internet, Facebook groups are your best friends. If you're looking for a gig as an artist or a musician, if you're looking for any weird opportunity, there is a group for it on Facebook. Search it up. You want to paint somebody's nails? Search it up. Weird jobs in New York City? Search it up on Facebook. I'm not kidding. Search it up. There is a Facebook group. Weird gigs for musicians and artists? Facebook group. Literally anything. Sugar babying? Facebook group. Facebook has it all. Has it all. Speaking of sugar babying, before I get to seeking arrangements, which is something I've tried, one thing that I found on Craigslist that kind of borders the idea of sugar babying without the creepiness, without the touchy, feely, inappropriate actions. Atmosphere modeling. If you don't know what atmosphere modeling is, you might be too young for me, but it still exists. Atmosphere modeling is, how do I explain this? Basically, people pay you to be pretty in a room. They need pretty girls in a room because there's photographers around and there's people with wealth around and they need it to look like girls are here. So they'll pay you however much money. It ranges. I don't know. It could be $75, $150, $400, $600 to literally party for the night because you're an atmosphere model. But you can't sit down. It's not for your leisure. You need to stand up. You need to engage with people. I'll never forget, I got like screamed at by somebody because this girl was like, stand up. I was like, oh my God. She's like, you're working. I was like, the girl got fired because she was psycho. But yeah, atmosphere modeling. You go into a room, they hire you to look adorable. They say, hey, can you wear these colors? You're going to look like you're on this guy's arm. Absolutely. You're going to pay me $500 to look like I'm on this guy's arm, drinking, having a great time. Sure. I got $3 in my bank account right now. Yeah. I'll freaking do it. It was great. And you're going to have to deal with the creeps, but whatever. You can swerve the creeps, swerve them. You don't like it. You tell somebody, I don't like how this guy's touching me. And when people are around and they notice stuff, a lot of girls step in for you. They block each other. Everybody's there to get a bag. So that works for me. Atmosphere modeling is old school, but damn was it freaking fun. Now, on this topic of sugar babying, seeking arrangements, every girl in New York City has tried seeking arrangements or has a friend that has done seeking arrangements. Seeking arrangements is a website specifically for sugar babies to find a companion. And these men range from wanting sex work to just wanting somebody to chat with. And I've gone on a few dates with guys for money. And it's kind of like it's a hit or miss. It's kind of like you got to win the lottery because some guys, it's like going on a date with somebody. You're taking a risk no matter who you meet. But some guys go on the date making you think that they just want a companion when they obviously want more. And then some people are really cute and nice and they're just nerdy guys that just want to feel like they have a friend. And it's sad. But they'll pay you to just talk to them and share a bottle of wine in public. And that's just what they want. And I one time tried to do like a foot fetish arrangement because I was like, oh my God, that's kind of easy. They just want your feet. They just want your feet. And the guy was like, can you wear stockings? I was like, sure, I can wear stockings. Great. Not even skin to skin contact. I wouldn't meet up for somebody no. This man, I signed up for this foot fetish date thinking like no skin contact. It's going to be so PG, like vanilla. Oh, you want stockings on my feet because you're a foot fetish guy. The man whipped out what was in between his legs and starts rubbing it all over my feet. And I was like, oh, oh, I'm not cut out for this. I'm not cut out for this. I had like a knife in my hand because I was like, all of a sudden the perception of myself snuck in. And I was like, girl, this man has his sausage on your big toe. Ah! I'm getting shivers thinking about the man's face. I can remember it so clearly. So weird. So weird. And I just didn't have the balls to do it. I didn't. I have friends who were like, "Yeah, whatever." But no, I didn't have the balls to do it. But seeking arrangements for some women, they've really hit it big. The problem is that it cannot be a long-term solution for you. Do not rely on anybody else for your money, okay? Do not rely on sugar babying for your money. Don't rely on nobody else, okay? That was one thing. Seeking arrangements is an option if you want to make money off of men, but if you really are like comfortable with that, then just do OnlyFans at that point. I don't have an OnlyFans, but then just try it, because you don't have to like be in person with anybody. But yeah, I'll never forget the man's brajol on my ankles. Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. This is a great way to make money. Listen up. I was a live audience member in talk shows. Something that people don't want you to know is that in a lot of talk shows in New York City that are just coming up, they need live audience members. So they pay people to sit in the audience and to look enticed by the show. They don't want you to know this. Is it a lot of money? Not always. Sometimes it's $75. Sometimes it's $125. But you get a free show. You're there for like a few hours and you leave. Quick money. What are you doing on a Tuesday afternoon if you're jobless, if you're unemployed? Go make $75 by watching a show. I saw Mel Robbins herself on a show. And I got paid like $80 that day or $150 that day because they filmed 2 shows in one day. And I was just having a good old time. But you can't say anything to anybody there because people are paying for their tickets to go. So that's another life hack. If you're coming to visit New York City, see if you can get paid to go watch a show. And it's usually like, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon are not going to pay people to be seat fillers. Like they're going to have enough human beings buying tickets. But that was a great way that I made money a few times. Really, really fun. On the level of kind of being an audience member and giving the background section a moment, I cannot stress this enough. Be an extra on TV shows, in commercials, in movies. Be an extra, okay? You can find these listings on castingnetworks.com, on Backstage, various different groups. You can find them on Instagram pages. Just type in be a movie extra on Instagram or on TikTok, and so many people will give you the resources to submit. They're always looking for people of any shape, any size, any ethnicity, because they need it to look diverse for various different things. That can be a good amount of money. That can pay you a couple $100 a day, and it'll say like, we need you for the whole day, but half of the time they let you go halfway through. So they may not always need you for the entire day. And also you get to hang out and be on set and you get to see famous people. It's fun. And you can make connections. And sometimes if you're there as an extra and they're like, oh, you know what? We need somebody to do this. Sometimes you get more screen time than you thought. Super fun. So definitely be an extra. You go into fittings, you get to be really immersed into like the world. Sometimes it's very low key, sometimes it's very high key, but you can find these extra casting notices online. So I think that there's websites even just dedicated to them. There's definitely Facebook groups dedicated to them. So if you want to be in your favorite TV show, definitely look it up. If you live in a city like New York, Chicago, Atlanta, LA, they're shooting everywhere. 1000% look it up. 1000% look it up. Now, let's jump from how to make money into how to have your upkeep, because looking fabulous costs a pretty penny, okay? And I learned how to dye my own hair years ago because I'm somebody who likes to change. I like funky hair colors. I like to dye my hair blue a lot. And dyeing your hair a fun color, there's a lot of upkeep with that. And if you want it done professionally, I mean, that's a ton of money. Anybody who gets their hair done regularly knows that it's a ton of money. And if you have a fun color, it's a lot of maintenance. Now, when I was really trying to find my style, I had friends and acquaintances that were in hair cosmetology school. Is that what it's called? Hair school, right? And there's a ton of hair schools in New York City, very, very high end, very fancy, that take place in some of the hottest salons in all of Manhattan. Okay. Now, what they do is they have these schools and they need models. So you can get your hair done for free or 15 bucks, I think is the most I've ever paid. 15 bucks. And to be a hair model. I've gotten my hair cut, colored, highlighted, shampooed, conditioned, blowout for $15. $15. There are so many schools doing this. And I cannot explain to you how, and honestly, sometimes it could be a miss. Sometimes they may butcher your hair. Okay. It has happened to me, but that's because I wanted something fancy and different. So don't do what I did. I wanted Victoria's Secret, like short hair, Victoria Beckham short hair, 2007, where she had like the edginess across her face. I was like, yeah, let me do something edgy and different. And they made me look like a cheap Kris Jenner. It was crazy. But the student wasn't the one who cut my hair. It was the teacher. So the other times I got these gorgeous caramel highlights. They were awesome. And it was only 15 bucks. So if you want some upkeep, some nail upkeep, be a model, be a hand model, nail model, hair model. Like, it is so worth it. And you can find these posts on Instagram, anywhere, Facebook for sure. And just go talk to people. Even pop into a salon that you know has a school. I mean, like, hey, I was just wondering if you guys are looking for any hair models anytime soon. They'll be like, oh my God, yes. I'm telling you, they will. They will. Another way for upkeep, how are we going to eat, babies? How are we going to eat, sisters? How we eating? Because there was a time where I wasn't. There was a time where I lost a ton of weight. I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I looked so good. Girl, you were so unhealthy. I wasn't eating. And then I found some life hacks. How to eat, where to eat. So, this is the deets. Promoter dinners and promoter events. Let me tell you something. If you think, oh, well, I'm not going to go to the club. I'm not going to go out. Like, people don't find me attractive. Honey, buck up. Do your hair, do your face, make yourself a freaking chameleon. Blend in. Go to a stupid nightclub and they're going to feed you like you've never been fed. These promoter dinners, they take you to so many, oh my God, back in the day, they were taking me to Tao, Le Souk. We were going to all these places where they feed you so much and then you go out to a club for free because the promoter gets paid just by your presence. So he wants hot girls there. And we were eating so much food. That's how I fed myself. And you look down the row, every girl there was doing the same thing. What are you here for? Well, I'm an artist. Oh, what are you here for? Well, I'm trying to be a model. Oh, what are you here for? Oh, well, I'm trying to be a musician, a fashion designer. But I have no money and I have nothing to eat, so that's why I'm here. And we go there and we tolerate these stupid, annoying promoters. I'm telling you, the men that are promoters need to be studied because they all got the same personality. They all got the same face, the same personality. They're all sleazy. You got to learn how to dance with snakes in this city, honey. And every single one of them is a snake. Every single one of them. They're all weird. Ask any girl that used to be a club girl. Ask any girl about a guy named Young Gal. They're all going to go, oh, brother. This man, everybody's got stories about this dude. This dude is going to have a documentary on him. He was just a wild, crazy, weird promoter. Weirdo dude, weirdo guy. And they can be like borderline psychotic and just kick you out for no reason. But who cares? You just got fed for free. Fed for free. I used to go to the bathroom because I wouldn't want to do this in front of other people. I used to run to the bathroom and bump into a server and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Do you have a to-go box? And they'd be like, oh my God, yeah, right here. They'd give me a to-go box. And while no one was looking, I'd shove the salmon in the to-go box and shove it in my purse. I got salmon for later. Thank you so much. Promoter dinners were the way to freaking go, okay? Oh my God, it was such a good time. It was very toxic, but it was a great time. Now, I have said this once and said this before. If you are really looking for like cheap food, and you want to focus on whole foods, fruits and vegetables and things like that, first of all, get your protein from a grocery store you like, right? Get your protein. You don't want to get your protein from anywhere sketchy. That'll get you sick as hell. In terms of fruits, vegetables, and produce like that, go to the carts, the fruit carts on your corners. These men will give you so much stuff for free. They'll be like, oh, here's plantains. You want 4 plantains for $1? Oh, avocados. You want 4 avocados for $3? Avocados at the grocery store are $3 each. They're giving me 4 for $3. You want fruits? They will load you up. You'll leave that man's fruit and vegetable stand with 3 full bags, having spent maybe $20. Maybe. Because they have so much they have to get rid of it or else it's going to go bad. And if it goes bad and people see that it's bad, then they're not going to get customers. You are helping him out. You are helping these small fruit and vegetable carts and fruit and vegetable stands out by going there. And a lot of the times, like the fruit is perfectly ripe and you can eat it that day. Okay? They'll have the jalapenos and they'll have the ginger. They have clumps of ginger. Like, I'm telling you, shop at the food cart food stands. There was one special one that I went to and where my old apartment was. It was on 145th Street, 140 on Broadway, in between 145th and 156th Street. It was it Paez Produce, something like that? Orange banner. And then they kind of began to have a storefront right there. And it was unreal. So great. They sold so many spices and herbs, and I would stock my fridge and maybe spend $20. I've never spent more than $20 in that place. And you are helping those small businesses. You are helping those workers. A lot of them are also waiting to become citizens. You are helping them out. Continue to help them out. And it's going to save you money. Okay? 1,000%. Also, learn how to make a lot of your own stuff, okay? I've learned how to make my own bread. I know sourdough is really like a trend right now, but I'm not kidding. If you can learn how to make sourdough bread, do it because it saves you a lot of money and it tastes amazing and it feels really good. You don't have to worry about any of this hyper processed bread. Highly, highly, highly recommend starting your sourdough starter. Highly recommend, okay? Learn how to pickle your own vegetables. Learn how to can things and make things and save them. And canned goods is always great as well, okay? I used to come home from like the club and I had nothing to eat and I would be so drunk, but I would just have like a box of pasta. So I'd be like wasted and crunching on hard, uncooked Barilla pasta. And I was like, this is where I'm at. Yeah, very scary behavior. Now, everybody wants to know where the hell you get an apartment. How do you get an apartment? Where's the best place to get an apartment? Is New York really that expensive? Do you really need all this stuff? Honey, you got to stop listening to people online. And I know a lot of New Yorkers are probably going to get very upset with me. Don't worry. Don't worry. This is an equal opportunity hack. Get off of Street Easy. Get off of it. Get off of it. Street Easy shows you basically nothing. Okay? If you're going to get on Street Easy, go there to find those brokers. The majority of those brokers are no-fee brokers. But what you want are the units that they're not showing on Street Easy because they have an entire freaking portfolio of places that they have. Let me tell you, Facebook Marketplace is your best friend for apartments. You will find subleases, sublets, roommates. You will find all of it on Facebook Marketplace. Used furniture, Facebook Marketplace. Half of the time, people are just moving, and where they're moving to, their furniture won't fit. And they're like, okay, I'll sell it to somebody. And if nobody's buying it, they will give you the most discounted shit, sometimes almost for free. Facebook Marketplace is your best friend. Craigslist is a fantastic place to find an apartment, contrary to popular belief. Like I said in the beginning, it's just creepy enough where people with money are like, I don't even want to go there. you will find someplace on Craigslist. Craigslist is very vetted these days. It has a lot of hoops that you have to jump through in order to post an apartment on there. And I would know because I was a leasing agent when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. I was the leasing agent in Brooklyn. And they would train us to post things. I would list all these listings on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. And I'm telling you right now, some of these apartments, I was like, whoa, they would never show this on Street Easy, ever. So make sure you are looking there. Renthop.com is Renthop.com is one of my favorite websites. It just has so many options, and I feel like nobody uses it because it doesn't have an app. So it's just a website, but wow, have I found some incredible finds. Yes, you can find rent-stabilized units. Here's the thing with rent-stabilized units. The brokers will always ask you for a broker's fee for a rent-stabilized unit because they need to find a way to make their money. They're not going to make money on a rent-stabilized unit. So make sure you save up enough to pay an extra fee. It is worth it. It is worth it. Your apartment, people will always ask you, do you have 40 times the rent? I know it's very annoying. I know. So if you want a $2,000 a month apartment to yourself, you have to make $80,000 a year, right? 40 times, yeah. You have to make $80,000 a year. Stupid, right? Stupid. You can also have a guarantor if you have somebody that has a high credit score, and they can sign for you. And basically that just means like you need to pay your rent every month or else it'll affect them. The greatest thing that I found is that if you're just starting out, what I did in the early days, I got a 5-bedroom apartment and we fitted in with a bunch of different people. The pros are you get a ton of space for cheap. I had a massive bedroom, double doors, huge windows, big living space, great counter, great kitchen. It was 5 bedrooms, right? And I was paying $830 a month in New York City. The only issue is that you're living with 5 people and there's 1 fridge. My solution, my parents got me a mini fridge so I can keep all of my stuff in my room. They got me my own fridge. That's all the space I needed anyways. I'm one person. Mini fridge. And, you have to decide chores and things like that. Make sure it's with people that are driven, ambitious, motivated. You don't want a slacky, because I ran into a very big issue many times in that apartment because I was young and I didn't know how to say no to people. Many issues. Obviously, you guys know the story of my ex-roommate who moved out during the pandemic and left me with a $20,000 bill. And then I had to find a way to pay a lawyer to get me out of that situation. Horrifying, very horrifying. Thank God I had a bad management. I had bad building management for that because I found a way out of it, but it ruined my credit completely. So there are so many ways. Definitely get a roommate. I think that the sweet spot for roommates and what you want to pay, 3 of you in an apartment. That's the sweet spot. 3 of you in an apartment. Because if you get 2, if you're looking to pay at around $1,000 a month, a little more, a little less, 3 of you in an apartment, easily. If you're looking to pay $1,200, $1,400, 2 of you in an apartment, okay? But I'm telling you, there are ways to cut corners. There are ways, there are hacks. Everything that I've told you today is a hack, okay? The one thing that I want to touch on, the last thing that I want to touch on is, where do you work? This is massive, okay? I probably should have said this in the beginning, but I'm happy I'm saying it now because this has been my biggest struggle. My biggest struggle, where do you work when you're striving for something else? Okay? I never wanted to be a full-time waitress because it will take you away from what you want to do. Do not ever allow yourself to get sucked into a job that is going to make you forget the reason why you're there, because then you have no reason of being here in the city. You have no reason. Do not become another person that is wasted potential. I cracked a few years back, and I said, screw it, I'm going to get a job at TAO. I got a job at TAO, And I will bash this place till the day I die. The way that I would talk to people and they made it sound like they were going somewhere or doing something. I was like, how do you have the time while working here? I signed up as a part-time waitress. They basically finagled me into being full-time. They don't allow you to take days off. Everything is a cover, even if you're like in the hospital, even if no matter what. The managers were children. They were horrible. They don't care about the food is subpar for the amount that they pay. And they basically set me up to fail in a lot of ways, but also like I was coming from fine dining. And I loved fine dining, and I thought Tao was fine dining. Tao is not fine dining. Just because you put big ass statues in this massive restaurant doesn't mean that it's fine dining. It's horrible. You need to find a place that is going to make you money part-time, where you can have time to do gigs in your respective field, where it'll give you time if you need an internship on the weekends. It'll give you time to work on your own music and to play private gigs. You need that flexibility while also making money. Listen to me very closely. You are going to go to a restaurant that is a steakhouse, a high-end Italian joint, or some sort of a very, very busy restaurant that's not a massive corporation. Do not go to the cute spot on the corner that maybe gets 20 guests a night. Absolutely not. You better go to the fastest running restaurant that is not a corporation. Okay? I worked at a steakhouse, The Palm. That's where I met my fiance, the love of my life. And I applied as a hostess because I didn't think that I was qualified. I had always heard of The Palm growing up. The Palm was this prestigious steakhouse. They were like, no, you're going to be a waitress. Like you're qualified. I became a waitress. I barely tried. It's all about being personable. Let me tell you, the training is long. I watched so many people in that restaurant come and go because they got a little afraid of the training. You're training for 10 days. You're training for 2 weeks. Suck it up. Suck it up. I watched a grown woman on her first shift after doing all of the training was like, oh, this is too hard for me, and handed her apron in within the first 3 hours. Too hard for you? Too hard? Honey, you just get the hang of it. It's not too hard. It's not too hard. You can do this. And I was literally working, not even kidding, maybe 5 hours a night, maybe. Going home with minimum $250 if I had 4 tables, minimum. Because the average seat, the average amount of money that somebody would spend per head was $150. So I never got less than a $40 tip per table. Ever. Besides maybe if I did a lunch shift. Okay? Everybody had to do lunch shifts, whatever. But if I was just working night shifts all week, I'm never making less than like $1,000 a week. It's $4,000 a month before taxes. I mean, and that was because I wasn't trying. I was the youngest person that worked there. The people that worked there were making 6 figures a year being waiters because they were salespeople. I cannot stress this to you enough. Do not get a minimum wage job if you are coming here. Strive for more. You deserve more. You deserve more. Do not come to New York and expect to work at a minimum wage job and think that that's going to be livable and then wonder why it's not working for you. Get your ass to a nice restaurant. Do the training. Be a waitress, be a server. Oh, but I don't want to. Take your ego out of it. Do you need money? Do you want to make the art that you want to make? Do you want to buy a new camera? Do you want a microphone? Every single night, your income changes based on how hard you're going to work. Sometimes you're going to get shitty nights, and sometimes you're going to make $500 off of one table. One night, I almost made $1,000. Please listen to me when I say this. Do not work minimum wage jobs here in New York City. Do not. Do not. Please do your very best to work some sort of service job that has tips. Please. Please. The waiters and waitresses here, the food industry in New York is going to save your life. Do not get sucked into it. Have discernment. Do not get sucked into this. Understand the difference that this is a side job and it is going to elevate you to the next point. Have a goal. My goal is to save this much amount of money and do this and put it into my own business and to be this artist and to be this fashion designer and to do this and to do that. It is a tool for you. the biggest way to survive in New York is to keep focus. Nothing else matters. If you have a goal for yourself, you set it and you figure out a way to get it. Get dirty, fail fast. Try something. I hate this. It doesn't work. Quit. Don't quit easy. Give it a full chest try. But I watch so many people be like, yeah, I'm an artist, but I get paid $7.50 or $15 an hour. Why? When you know you can get a job down the block doing something else. You know. You have experience in retail, find a place where you get commission doing retail. Oh, well, they're not going to hire me. Why not? Let them tell you they're not going to hire you. Let them tell you. Don't decide for them. Don't decide for them. You're taking yourself out of the game before you even played. Don't decide for them. I loved my time working in fine dining. I cannot explain to you how much I loved it. If I wasn't an artist, I would do that for the rest of my life in this city. I'm not kidding. This city's food industry, when you find a good place that fits you, I would do it forever. I really would. Maybe not forever, but I mean, I've seen people literally, they worked there for 20, 30 years. So there's got to be something behind it. I had coworkers making $120,000 a year being a server. They get to take off when they want. You get benefits. I'm not kidding. So listen, guys, I hope that this has been super informative, and I would love to do more episodes like this. More ways to live and survive as a struggling artist, maybe a step-by-step on how to get started as an artist if you are or somebody looking to audition or things like that. Next week, I have a fantastic guest coming on the show. I'm really excited because he's a powerhouse. He is a singer and he has a show coming up at Chelsea Table and Stage, which is where I will be performing on March 27th. I cannot wait to give you guys the ticket link. Thank you guys so much for listening. I believe in you. I get passionate about this because the misinformation and fear-mongering of following your dreams and who you are is always set by people who haven't done it. Your dreams are not your dreams. They are your goals. You want to live and move to New York City? Let's do it together, babe. I've done it. If I can do it, you can do it. If I charged my second month's rent to a credit card, and you know what? Right now, I'm still clawing my way out of the debt that my old roommate put me in. That's okay. I know that there's a solution to every problem, and the light at the end of my tunnel is beaming bright. And so is the light at the end of yours. I believe in you. We're going to do this together. So make sure you guys are liking, sharing, subscribing. Make sure you guys are hanging in there. Let me be the space that takes you away from everything happening in the world right now. Like, share, subscribe to my Patreon members. I love you guys so much. You guys will be getting all of the new updates for the show coming up, as well as the new PSA ebook. I can finally fully announce that the PSA ebook is happening. Oh, I'm so proud of it. I've held on to it for about a year, and I didn't know why. And now I know why. I know what was missing. It wasn't me yet, but now it's me. So I'm excited for this, for the stuff that's coming, and I will see you next time. So thank you so much for joining us for a cup of coffee, cup of tea, or a freaking martini. Remember to be your best self. I freaking believe in you. And don't let anybody ever tell you not to believe in yourself. Love you guys so much. I'll see you next time.